And so when I didn't win the award, I don't give a crap about this award. I flew the lady out. She was so emotionally attached to it.
Roger Barr and Wayne Carini were more than just colleagues in the classic car world. For many years, they stood side by side on the popular television show Chasing Classic Cars. Viewers loved their partnership. Wayne was the man in front of the cameras, negotiating deals, traveling across the country, and hunting rare vehicles. Roger was the quiet but powerful figure in the workshop, a master mechanic who could fix, restore, and bring old engines back to life. Together, they made a team that car enthusiasts respected and admired. Their bond stretched back decades, even before television. It was born in the small town of Glastonbury, where both were already known in the world of car restoration. Roger's skills with engines were unmatched, and Wayne's family ran a body shop where young Wayne was introduced to cars. From those early years, trust grew between the two men, creating what seemed like an unbreakable partnership. For fans, this friendship was more than just professional. It was an example of loyalty and respect in a demanding industry. But behind the smiles and success, a painful story was waiting to unfold. What seemed golden on the surface was hiding cracks that would later break their bond forever. The turning point came when Roger Barr faced a serious accident in the workshop. He injured his legs badly, and the situation quickly became worse than anyone expected. What began as a painful accident developed into a dangerous infection, forcing Roger into the hospital. Doctors soon told him he would need major surgery, including knee replacements. For someone who had spent his life working on cars, often standing for hours at machines, this was a crushing blow. After surgery, he tried to return to work, but his health no longer allowed him to handle the same intensity. He could only manage half days, and even that was a struggle. This health crisis created not only physical challenges, but also emotional ones. Roger began to worry about his financial future as medical bills started piling up while his ability to work shrank. At this point, many expected his longtime friend, Wayne Carini, to stand by his side, offering support during this difficult chapter. After all, their bond had lasted for decades, and Roger had contributed so much to Wayne's business and reputation. But what happened next shocked not only Roger, but also fans who later learned about it. Instead of encouragement, Roger received a letter, one that ended his employment at F40 Motor, the very place he had worked for years. Receiving a termination letter after decades of loyalty was more than just losing a job for Roger. Barrett was losing a part of his identity. He described it as being kicked out of a family with a piece of paper. To him, F40 Motorsports was more than just a workplace. It was where he had built friendships, shared memories, and poured his expertise into cars that inspired millions of viewers. The letter didn't just cut off his income, cut off a deep relationship. For many fans, the friendship between Wayne and Roger had been a highlight of Chasing Classic Cars. Their teamwork looked natural and honest, something rare in television. But the letter proved that things were not as strong behind the scenes as they seemed. To make matters worse, Roger had to hire a lawyer to get back the tools he had spent his entire career collecting. These were not just tools, they were symbols of his life's work, each one carrying years of dedication. Having to fight for them added another layer of pain to the betrayal he felt. Roger later revealed that he also began to feel like an outsider. As Wayne's family became more involved in his life and business, while Wayne chose silence and avoided discussing the matter publicly, Roger could no longer hide his disappointment. He admitted, "I am no longer considered a friend, but a discarded employee." Those words showed the depth of the wound, a wound that was not temporary but permanent, closing the door on what had once been considered an iconic friendship. Before this heartbreaking split, Roger and Wayne had shared a long journey filled with success and mutual respect. Their bond began when Wayne was just a teenager, visiting Roger's garage to learn about rare European cars. Roger had already built a name for himself as a mechanic with experience in Europe, racing, and years of dedication. His knowledge inspired Wayne, who developed a passion for Ferraris, Maseratis, and other sports cars. When Wayne later founded F40 Motorsports, Bringing Roger into the business was not just a smart hire, it was a way of joining forces with a mentor and trusted friend. On the TV show Chasing Classic Cars, their roles were clear but complementary. Wayne was the face of the brand, known for traveling and negotiating, while Roger became the steady, authentic presence in the workshop. Fans quickly grew attached to Roger because he wasn't an actor, he was a craftsman. A man who loved his work and showed honesty in every scene. This chemistry between the two gave the show its charm. Wayne impressed viewers with his knowledge of car history and business deals, but Roger brought soul, representing the spirit of old-school craftsmanship. During this time, they built not only a successful business, but also a friendship that seemed unshakable. Wayne often praised Roger publicly, saying he was an essential part of the workshop. Fans assumed this respect would last forever. Looking back, these years are remembered as the golden era of their partnership, a time when their combined talents made them stand out in the classic car world. Despite appearing on television for years, Roger Barr's career did not bring him the same financial success as Wayne Carini. Roger was paid only as a workshop technician, not as a TV personality, even though millions of viewers knew his face and admired his skills. While Wayne expanded his personal brand, launched businesses, and became a recognized figure in the media, Roger continued to work in the workshop, receiving no extra income from the show itself. This created a large gap between the two men, not just in money, but also in recognition. Roger often thought about the unfairness of this situation. He carried much of the technical weight, taking on the hardest jobs, but his efforts were not rewarded equally. As his health declined and medical bills piled up, the lack of financial support became even harder to accept. He had given his entire life to his craft and his role in the show. Yet when he needed help the most, he felt abandoned. Roger's frustration was not only about money, but about respect. He believed his contribution to Chasing Classic Cars was vital, yet it was not valued the way it should have been. This realization added another layer of pain to his separation from Wayne and F40 Motorsports. It painted a picture of a man who had given everything to his passion but received little recognition in return. For fans, this part of the story reveals the hidden struggles behind the glamour of television and the car industry. After leaving F40 Motorsports, Roger Barr did not simply disappear. Instead, he started a new chapter at Paddock Car Restorations, a smaller workshop where he found the respect and appreciation he had long been missing. Here, Roger was not just another employee, he was seen as a master of his craft, a living encyclopedia of car knowledge. His colleagues admired him, and the workshop's owner praised his rare skills and dedication. For Roger, this environment brought back joy and peace. He no longer carried the stress of television, filming, or strict deadlines. Instead, he focused purely on doing what he loved, restoring classic cars with care and precision. This slower pace also helped him protect his health while still staying active in the field. Surrounded by people who valued him, Roger regained confidence and purpose. Meanwhile, Wayne Carini took a different path. He continued building his empire, launching a magazine, a podcast, and expanding his influence in the classic car world. While Wayne remained in the spotlight, Roger found comfort in a smaller, quieter life. The contrast between the two men's journeys showed that success can look very different depending on one's values. Roger discovered that true fulfillment came not from fame or money, but from passion, respect, and the joy of craftsmanship. At the twilight of his career, he realized that his greatest achievement was not recognition on television, but the satisfaction of having spent his life doing what he loved. The story of Roger Barr and Wayne Carini is both inspiring and heartbreaking. It begins with friendship, teamwork, and success, but ends with disappointment and separation. For fans, it is a reminder that even the strongest bonds can break when tested by life's hardships. Roger's accident, the termination letter, and the lack of recognition all combined to end a relationship that had seemed unshakable. Yet, in the end, Roger found peace in a smaller workshop, surrounded by respect and appreciation, while Wayne continued his journey in the larger world of fame and business. Both men carved out their own legacies, one as a symbol of success in the classic car industry, and the other as a respected craftsman who valued passion over recognition. Roger's journey teaches us that true worth does not always lie in fame or money, but in the joy of doing what you love and the respect you earn from those around you. For viewers, this story is a powerful reminder of friendship, loyalty, and the challenges that life can bring even to those who seem to have it all. For Roger Barr, the split from Wayne Carini was not only about work or money, it was about trust. When someone spends decades building a relationship, it becomes more than just a partnership. It becomes a bond like family. Roger often described F40 Motorsports as his second home, a place where he invested not just his skills but also his heart. The termination letter changed that completely. Instead of feeling appreciated for his years of loyalty, Roger felt discarded at the moment, when he was most vulnerable. For many people, physical injuries are difficult enough, but the emotional pain of losing a friend can cut even deeper. The silence from Wayne added to this feeling. If Wayne had openly explained his reasons or reached out with compassion, the outcome might have been different. Instead, the lack of communication left Roger feeling isolated and confused. This silence made it clear to him that their friendship was over. The fact that he had to fight legally just to get his tools back showed how far things had fallen. Each of these steps deepened the emotional wound, turning it into something permanent. Fans who later heard Roger's side of the story could understand his sense of betrayal. Many of them had admired the duo, not just for their work, but for their visible friendship. To see it collapse in such a cold manner was shocking. For Roger, the experience became a reminder that even the strongest relationships can change when tested by stress, health issues, and business decisions. The emotional toll was heavy, but in the end, it also pushed him to find peace in places where loyalty and respect were still alive. The story of Roger Barr and Wayne Carini is not only about two men in the car industry, carries lessons for everyone. First, it shows that fame and success do not always bring happiness or fairness. Roger was on television for years, seen by millions. Yet he never received the recognition or financial rewards that usually come with such visibility. His story reminds us that behind every successful brand, there are often unsung heroes who may not get the spotlight. Second, their story shows the importance of communication in relationships. When difficulties arise, silence can do more damage than words. If Wayne and Roger had openly discussed their problems, perhaps they could have saved at least part of their friendship. Instead, the lack of honest conversation created distance that could never be repaired. Third, the story highlights the difference between values. For Wayne, family and business expansion were priorities. For Roger, passion for craftsmanship and loyalty were most important. Neither perspective is wrong, but when values clash without understanding, even strong relationships can fall apart. Finally, Roger's journey teaches the importance of finding peace. Despite the pain of betrayal, he discovered happiness in a smaller workshop where he was respected and appreciated. This shows that success is not always about being famous or rich. It can also mean living a life where your work is valued and your heart feels at peace. For fans, the story is both a warning and an inspiration. Never forget to value the people who help you succeed. And never underestimate the joy of doing what you love with people who respect you. The journey of Roger Barr and Wayne Carini began with friendship, grew into success, and ended in silence and separation. Their story is filled with lessons about loyalty, fairness, and the unpredictable turns of life. Roger's accident